His Excellency, Chairperson of the Arctic Circle, Mr. Grimson, distinguished participants from the ICIMUD member countries, Arctic Circle, and all the invited participants from different countries, that's researchers and scientists. It is a great pleasure for me to be present here on behalf of Bangladesh and as a member of high-level task force of ICIMUD. I thank Arctic Circle for inviting me to this forum. You have already know that Hindu Kush Himalaya is an important part of the planet, also called the water tower of Asia. It has headwater of 10 major river systems that feed one of the most extensive irrigation food basket of Asia, providing food, water, energy, and other services to a quarter of humanity. The region supports an estimated 3.47 trillion USD economy every year, with 4 global biodiversity hotspots, some of the ancient culture, civilization, and more than 600 living languages. ASK is a global asset. The third pole, Himalaya, is a reference not only for ice and water, it refers to the center of gravity of the region, namely Himalaya are across Afghanistan, Pakistan, China, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. It is a region of great cultural and religious diversities and immense political complexities. It includes densely populated societies and also the most populated nations on the earth. The Hindu Kush Himalaya is in forefront of climate change. The region climate has changed significantly during the last 5 decades. It is predicted to change more drastically during the next few decades. It is also of great consequence for human lives. More than 1 billion people rely on water downstream in one way or other, or not only for drinking or sanitation, but also for production, food production, hydroelectric power, and a host of economic activities. Snow and glacier melt in the major sources of irrigation for water for mountains, hills, and plains, and provide fresh water and silt to the coastal and deltaic ecosystem in the downstream. 1/3 of the glacier march in the Himalayas is predicted to melt by the end of the 21st century, putting food, water, energy, ecosystem, and economic security at a higher risk. ICIMUD, based on its assessment report 2019, developed ASK's call to action on 6 urgent action for collaborative and cooperative actions, which was unanimously agreed by the 8 ministers of ASK's sharing countries in the first ASK's ministerial summit in 2020. The ministerial declaration of October 2020, among other action points, agreed to form a ministerial level institutional mechanism to provide science policy advice to its regional member countries on regional and transboundary issues embodied in the ASK call to action. The October 2020 ministerial declaration recommended to form a high-level task force to conduct a feasibility study of similar institutional mechanism from other parts of the world and come up with recommendation on a feasible configuration for the ASK's region. The ASK's high-level task force, based on its interaction with learnings from the Arctic Circle, Carpathian Convention, and Alpine Convention, have developed a draft recommendation report on high-level institutional mechanism for the ASK's region. Now you know the Bangladesh is the downstream of ASK's. The melting arc glaciers and green deltaic ice shield contributes to the sea level rise globally. The melting of third pole glacier result in particularly devastating effects on Bangladesh and other low-lying islands in the region. These impacts of climate change will negatively affect ASK's countries. Coastal areas, especially heavily populated mega delta region, will be greatest risk due to increased flooding from the sea and some cases from the river flooding. Bangladesh is one of the more vulnerable and risk-prone countries in the world. Over the centuries, its population has learned to cope with a wide range of natural and human-made hazards, rapid hazards. Population growth, high densities, and poverty level lead to an increase in vulnerability over the last few decades. Climate change is expected to increase the frequency and intensity of current hazards and probability of extreme events and new vulnerabilities with differential with differential spatial and socio-economic impacts. This is expected to further degrade the resilience of the poor, vulnerable communities. It is therefore important to understand a number of processes that are rapidly changing Bangladesh landscape, altering livelihood, opportunities, and health distribution, which is in turn affect the vulnerability of many communities and stakeholders and their capacity to adapt in the long-term risk. The downstream effect of glacial and snow and ice sheet melting in Himalayas have long-term effect on the tributary Brahmaputra basin in Bangladesh. The Arctic Circle third pole process bringing together world-class scientists, resource managers, climate experts, legislators, and policymakers from region as well as from the world. It is an all-inclusive and timely effort to introduce the Arctic model of collaboration to the third pole Himalaya region as we are preparing to embark upon the journey to COP20. The way in which Arctic states have organized their engagement with environmental challenges presents many useful examples for other parts of the world and has served an inspiration. In the third pole, Himalaya, the Arctic experience has already served as an inspiration, as it can be seen for the example in the Hindu Kush Himalaya Monitoring and Assessment Program, which was inspired by the Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Program. However, the Arctic experience is more comprehensive and has been presented to institutions and authorities in the third pole Himalaya region in conferences, meetings, workshops, and forums. Notably, this has been placed within the domain of Arctic assemblies and forums. Now, I believe that experience and learning from the Arctic process will be relevant and helpful to address some, if not all, of the challenges that ASK region is facing because of climate change and its impact on mountain system and environment and people. I would like to thank Arctic Circle and ICIMUD for providing opportunity to be part of this important event. Thank you very much.